Hello, today in class we did the front side of page 31 and 32, so we did page 31, and we're working on solving two-step equations. So please have this paper out ready to go along with your calculator and your pencil, and you can pause this until you have that ready to go. Okay, so on page 32, we're going to do this practice set. I'm going to do this column, which I hoped we'd do today in class. We did not get to that. And then you're going to do this. So these two problems are very similar, okay? These problems are similar, and then the last two are similar. So I'm going to do the left column. You're going to pause the video and try the right on your own, and then we'll continue that process. So when we solve, we start with what we're going to call the wall. It's just a line down the equal. And I'm going to make this a little bit longer because we're going to have two steps to do. We're going to look at our problem. We're going to see that this is multiplying this variable and this is adding. This number is the constant. We have to eliminate this first, and we're going to mathematically eliminate it by doing the opposite of whatever we see. So we see adding. We're going to do the opposite, which is subtracting. So I'm going to take away 7 on both sides. So that is my first step. And you don't have to draw this first and second. I'm just letting you know, reminding you. So this eliminates, and mathematically what happens is it zeroes out, and what I have left over now is negative 4a. That's something new. Before we just had the a left over when we were solving one step, so we had just the variable left over. But now this entire term comes down because we have to eliminate the negative 4. And on the other side, it's still equal, so we want to acknowledge that it's still equal. It equals 12. So now it's almost like we have a brand new one-step equation. This was our first step, now comes our second step. I see a coefficient of negative 4. So I need to eliminate this negative 4. So I have to decide what's being done. Side by side means multiply. That's what's being done. So I need to undo it by dividing both sides by negative 4. So I'm going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. That's my second step. And it has to be a negative 4 because a negative, that's what they gave me, divided by a negative is a positive. And I want this a to be positive. So negative 4 divided by negative 4, mathematically that's a 1. Or again, you can just say it cancels out, leaving the a. Finally, we have the a. So I have a, that's what's left over. I wanted to make sure I say that it's equal. And here I have a positive 12 divided by a negative 4, and if she's half awake, she's mad or negative. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we've established it's negative 3. So pause the video, please, and you try this problem. When you're done solving it, go on to the next problem in the left-hand column. Okay, so we're going to start this process again. Let's remind ourselves that we're multiplying 6 times n, that's the coefficient. We're subtracting 4, that's the constant. And so we need to build our wall, our line straight down. I start with the constant, the number that's being added or subtracted. And so I'm going to subtract, oops, I take that back, I'm looking at it. It is subtracting 4, so I have to do the opposite. I have to add 4 on both sides. That's our first step. The good news is it eliminates over here, and on what's left over on the left-hand side is 6n. I still want to acknowledge that the equal sign's there. And now I'm subtracting. If I have a negative 28 plus 4, you can either use your calculator, or you can think about having negative 4 or at negative 28 and you're moving up the number line with 4. So when they're different signs, if you remember this, it's like subtracting. So I would get 24 left over, but I would not make it onto the positive side of the number line. There's more leftover negatives. So if it helps you to think about the chips, the counters, the red and yellow chips, or when we highlighted, that might be helpful. So now we have another step. I have to eliminate that 6. I just want the n. So if I look at this, side by side means multiply. So I have to do the opposite. I have to divide by 6. And the high school way of showing division is that fraction bar. It looks like a fraction bar. So what we've done now is we've been able to eliminate 6 divided by 6 is 1, and now I just have n. And on the other side, now that we're dividing, that's when the faces come in. I have a negative 24 and a positive 6, and when she's half asleep, she's negative or she's mad. So it's negative, and 24 divided by 6 is negative 4. So the solution is n equals negative 4. So would you please try now the one on the right side? After you're done solving, let's go on to the final one on the left-hand side of the column. All right, let's try our last problem. I realize that this looks a little bit intimidating to start it, but the good news is that we're going to start it just in a very similar way that we did the other problems. So if I look at this, let's just analyze what we have. We have w divided by 3, and then we have plus 5. So just like we did in the last two, we're going to eliminate the constant, the number that's being added or subtracted, the one that's not with the variable. So the opposite of adding 5 is to subtract 5. So we're going to start out by taking away 5 on both sides. So plus 5 and minus 5, or positive 5 and negative 5, that eliminates. But I have w divided by 3 still left over. So that's going to equal 9 minus 5, which is 4. So we have our first step out of the way. Now we're going to go on to our second step. And once again, I have to figure out what's being done so I can do the opposite. I see that it's being divided. So I do the opposite, which is to multiply. And I'm just going to show the shortcut way. I'm going to place 3 side by side on both sides. Side by side means multiply. So I'm multiplying both sides by 3. And the good news is the 3's eliminate on this side, leaving w, which is what we want, equals, and on this side it's 12. So the answer is w equals 12. Last problem for you. Would you try this one? And when you get done, would you please take a picture and send it to me? And I'm going to forward the key, attach the key in our lesson tomorrow. Thank you.